morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Hope you're all okay. I've just seen Camilla. I'm very jealous. She's in a sunny Malaga. It's not too bad here actually. Another beautiful autumn's morning. Good morning, everyone. Morning, Mum as well. Everyone's saying good morning, Mama Millsop. I hope you're all doing okay. Good morning, everybody. Lots of you already. The countdown clock is really helpful, isn't it? It just helps you find the broadcast before we actually get into stuff, which is really nice. So I can see some familiar faces, some new names as well. Good morning. If you're watching for the first time, just give us a little wave, say hello, let us know where you are. We tend to have people from all over the world actually watching these. And today is one of your favourites, miracle beads. I'm pretty sure, I think it's Joe. I think it's Joe Trick, who loves miracle beads, and no matter what we do, she always says, oh, that would look great in miracle beads, and it really would. So for those of you who didn't see the little picture at the very beginning, I'm making a lovely crisscross design today for a collar. So I'm using 8 and 10 millimeter miracle beads, and I'm using them in the blue, but there are 3 colour options available for you. So you can have a little look on the website. I'll show you that now actually, so that if you want to just quickly pop off, go and get your kits, then you can do before I get into anything. So I'll show you that now quickly. Oh, hang on. Unlock this one so I can go onto the website. So if you have a little look on the website, you will see that we've got obviously our Facebook tutorials, so you can always find all of our Facebook kits and all of our videos here. So this will take you straight through to our Facebook page, but I'm guessing you found that already because you're here. These are then day by day all of the kits and all of the videos that we have been live with. Some of them will be out of stock. Some of them have amazing offers that will still be there while the stock lasts. So that's great. You can go and find everything. And then when you go into the category, whatever kit you would really like to do, then you can actually click up at the top and that will take you straight to the project as well. So once you've got your kits, you've got them home and you're ready to make, then you can find everything in here. So they're £17.99 pound worth of materials. You've got all your miracle beads, chains, jump rings, tiger tail, crimp beads, culottes. So very similar materials to yesterday's for stringing, and of course your jump rings as well. And I'm using, like I said, we've got the 6 and 8 millimeter. So you've got the blue, you've got the beautiful grey and shadow. I'm going to show you all of these live because you can't beat how a miracle bead looks under these lights. And then you've got the fabulous purple. I don't think this stock is going to last very long. I know you love your purples, so I should think that would probably be one of the first to go. So we'll have a little look. I will turn you down so that you can have a little look at the miracle beads themselves. Okay, so the design that we're going to be making are these really lovely crisscross designs, and when I pull this top one a little bit tighter, because the beads are smaller up on the top, you can see we're going to get this amazing bend in the collar. Oh, somebody's birthday. Happy birthday, Marcia. Thank you for joining us today. Very privileged to be with you on your birthday. Hope you're having a nice one. You managed to celebrate somehow. Diane question, Sarah, does it have to be 10 mil or would 8 and 6 work? So I'm using 6 and 8s, but you could use 8s and 10s, you could use 10s and 12s, whatever it may be. Obviously this is going to give you a reasonably big necklace, nice little feature. But you can use any colour and any size. Now in your packs, so I've actually got, and you can see it perfectly under this light, I've got 2 colours of our turquoise. So I'm using the larger beads in the lighter turquoise and darker in the smaller, but in your kits you are also going to get that in reverse. So you can make 2 colours. They look very similar here, but you can see once they're out and once they've got the white behind them, you can see the difference. So you can mix and match and you can make 2 different colour coordinating, or maybe you could do an ombre effect, whatever you like. Now the purples, and I had these on my bead mat yesterday and my husband was picking them up like, what are these? The miracle beads are fantastic. They look like they have like a little orb of light inside of them. And and they are just the nicest to work with. So these are your purple. Look at that colour in the lilac, isn't it gorgeous? So this is your purple colour option. You will get all of your findings with your sets as well. I wish you could see them change from the lights. When you get them home, you will, or I know many of you have worked with Miracle Beads already, so you know how cool they are. But you can see under the actual light that I've got here, it looks amazing. And then as soon as you kind of take it away and put it in a darker light, it just completely changes. So that is your purple. And then your grey and shadow, I absolutely love. You've got, it almost looks black until you see it under the light. And then you have that lovely pop of colour and reflection. And the shadow, I think, is really beautiful. These two together look fantastic. So something a little bit darker. I think you've got something for every day then as well. And the colours are, oh, Sue's saying she loves Miracle Beads. Loved the purple the best, says Jax. I knew a lot of you would. Hard to choose, both lovely colours. They're all amazing, aren't they? Okay, so what we're going to do is string on a tiger tail necklace. And I'm just going to cut this tiger tail down because I was using this yesterday and I didn't want to waste any of my materials. So you will get enough to make at least 2 necklaces. Of course, depending on the size that you want to make it, you could always get a little bit more out of it as well if you really wanted to get those materials stretching that little bit further. I'm just going to correct one of these little jump rings. And then what we're going to do is create the lovely little crisscross pattern in the middle using our jump rings. Now, I'm going to show you a funky chainmail way of doing it, and then a plain way of doing it, so if you want something a little bit easier. So our jump rings are going to just give us this lovely little feature spacer in between. What I've done is actually started off, and I'll start from the very beginning, so that I can finish this one as well and just show you how to neaten up and correct those ends. So at the very start, exactly the same as we did yesterday with our tiger tail, but I'm using a double strand. So I've taken 2 lengths of my tiger tail, and when you get your coil, I think, if I remember rightly, it's 10 meters, a 10-meter coil. Just split it into 4, and then you know you're going to have enough for both. So I've cut down 2 lengths straight through the hinge of the culotte, and I'll show you this at the very end for anyone who missed yesterday's video. 2 strands through the culotte, 2 crimp beads, squashing those down just like we did yesterday and covering it with the crimp. And then you're going to start to thread on in individual strands in exactly the way that I'm going to show you now. So I like to separate them. I've got all of my materials here, and I'm going to shift these over a little bit more so that you can see all of it. So when I'm making something like this, you have to make sure that you've got the right strand with the right bead. So I tend to have my beadwork here. I will split it into 2, and on my right are my larger beads and on my left are my smaller beads, and then I always know which strand my beads need to go onto. Mina says, question, would this work with 6 and 8 mil crystal rondelles? It's actually exactly what I used for my original design with this. So I did use crystal rondelles, and they were all the same size though. So we thought with the Miracle Beads we would switch it up a little bit. So you can use the same size beads or you can use smaller. I'm not sure if we have any of these kits left. I think if we did, they would be in the category. But as you can see, it's a really lovely technique that you can then put onto absolutely any sort of beads. You can make it look really lovely. Oh, Marcy is saying, thanks Kitty, you've made my day, a big fan. Oh, you're getting all your personalised birthday messages this morning, Marcia. Okay, so let's get going. With your jump rings, you can either use 3 individual ones together, or I'm going to show you, we can make a Mabias flower, which is something that we do in chainmail. It's a lovely little chainmail pattern. So I'm going to take one of my jump rings and open it up. So just twisting it open, and then adding on a closed jump ring. You then close off the original jump ring and you fold it over the back so that they sit intertwined like this. And then you'll take another jump ring, open it up, make sure you have your pile of open and closed jump rings first of all. so that you don't have to keep on doing this. Open up, pop that in and close that one over. And again, just fold it back and over. So you actually get this really lovely, it's called a Mabias knot. You get this lovely sort of intertwined flower, or Mabias flower, isn't it? Not a knot. You can see that you get the lovely linked together jump rings, so they're fabulous. So that's going to give you a really nice little bit of dimension. You can see that they interlink into each other when you're adding them on, or you can just add on the jump rings as they are. Now what you do have to be careful of is that some of the jump rings in the packs are a little bit open. These aren't jump rings that I would use for chainmail. They are a little bit thinner. They're an 8mm jump ring, but they are only about, I think they are a 0.6 gauge, so in thickness. So they're not thick enough to be able to use for chainmail because they don't hold their shape. But you just want to make sure in your little stash that you don't have any that are open like this, because if you do, they are going to come off of your tiger tail, even if you interlink them in your Mabias. That is your chainmail patterns book. The Mabias flower is, yes, and Mabias knots, which is why I get confused between the two. You need to try, as you might need a smaller jump ring if you reduce the size of beads. Yes, so obviously I've got my 6 and my 8s. You can see that these are going to be the right size. If you go down to like using a 4mm bead, you're going to have to use a smaller jump ring, because then they're just going to disappear through. Okay, so do excuse me, keep sipping my coffee. I'm a bit cricky again. So for every time you add on a bead, we are also going to bring both strands together and add on our little triple clusters of our jump rings. So I bring everything together in the very middle, like so. I've staggered these two a little bit too much. Pop on your jump rings onto both, and then you separate between your left and your right. So on your left will go your smaller bead, and then onto your right will go your larger bead. And what I absolutely love is that this is as hard as it gets. It's so simple, but so effective, which is what we like. Sometimes you just need a lovely little quick make, and the materials really do speak for themselves. Is the PDF included in the kit, please? I'm not entirely sure. Kitty, would you be able to just confirm that? We did have the instructions for the Criss Cross necklace, so I'm assuming yes, they would be. But if not, it's making me wonder if they're not, because there isn't a PDF in the category on the website. So it might just be the make along video like we do sometimes. Okay, so you just keep on going in this way. I'm going to go for a little bit longer because I want to show you how to get the most perfect finish at the very end, because we are going to need to pull our smaller one ever so slightly tighter. So you can see I've probably got, yeah, about half. Yes, it is. Just confirm with Simon. So yes, you will get your PDF in all of your kits as well. So they are complete kits, and you've got all your findings in there, all your jump rings, your clasps, your crimp beads, your culottes, plenty for you to be making with. Now, I'll show you where one of the little Mabias knots are that we've made, because it does make a lovely difference. It's one of the more time-consuming aspects of this project, if you are going to make the lovely little Mabias flowers, but it really does make such a difference. When you are doing something that's as simple as just stringing beads on, you actually want to kind of add that handmade finish to it and just give it that something a little bit extra. I'll find it for you now. So obviously for time's sake in the video, I am just using the individual jump rings. But can you see here, this is my Mobius flower that I made a moment ago, and it does look so much nicer than just the 3 jump rings on their own. So you get that lovely, almost woven kind of look when you've got everything together, and it's coming together beautifully. Almost there, and then we'll get going. So you'll see that, excuse me, each of my strands I keep left and right. Lorna, they will make 2 minimum. You could do more. But you're going to get 4 packs of your beads. So if you wanted to, you've also got chain in there. So rather than doing a complete collar, you could just do a little section, just like we were doing with the lovely pins yesterday. If you don't want to use all of your materials at once to make like a bigger, you know, a bigger full collar, you can of course just do lovely little clusters of detail right at the front. And that way, oh gosh, you might need a couple of extra clasps, but you could probably get 4, 5, if not 6 out of them. But you would get 2 full collars because you're going to flip-flop those colours. On this one, I have the lighter miracle bead in my larger size. And then in my next collar, I'll be using the darker beads in the larger size. So 2 really nice contrasting pieces. And then we'll keep going. Could you use elastic to make a bracelet in this design? Yeah, you could. Again, just make sure that your jump rings are completely closed, because again, the elastic, although it's probably a little bit thicker, getting these 2 mixed over, let me put this the right way around. Even though your elastic is probably a little bit thicker than the tiger tail, just make sure that they are all really nice and closed. And again, those lovely little Mobius flowers are going to keep your tiger tail in place as well. And then I just keep on checking my strands to make sure I've got them the right way. What you could also do is take a little bit of coloured nail polish, like a red for example, and dip one end just ever so slightly, just put a little mark on there. It's not going to affect any of the thickness of the tiger tail, so you're still going to be able to get your beads on really nice and easily. But that way, for example, your red might always be your smaller bead. And that's going to keep you right. That way, you will then know exactly which one. It's just like when we're doing macrame and you put a knot on one side of your cord. It's just going to keep you right and make sure that you're always threading the right bead on, because there's nothing more frustrating than getting halfway through your necklace or your bracelet and then realising that you've put a wrong bead kind of right in the middle. For your bracelet, I would probably recommend that you do the same size bead. The beauty of having the 2 different sizes in this is that in a moment when I pull it really tightly, because the inner beads are slightly smaller, it's going to give me a really lovely curve, which is perfect for a collar, obviously not so great for a bracelet. You want your bracelet to sit flat. But we also have, Kitty did some lovely, yes, Kitty, or a marker pen, that would be good. Kitty did some really lovely bracelets in the flat spiral using miracle beads. So that would also be a beautiful accompaniment to this. You could have your flat spiral bracelet and then your crisscross necklace. Okay, so how are we doing? Going pretty well. Ooh. So you can see this one, actually, I haven't gone through both strands. So if that actually happens, just take your pliers, open up your jump ring and just link it through that second strand. And again, because I'm using the jump rings individually, sometimes you miss one. Whereas if you are doing the Mobius flower, then it won't matter because they're all linked in together anyway. Question, we're doing 2 jump rings on both tiger tail and then each bead on each tiger tail. Yeah, that's right. So 3 jump rings. You could do 2 if you wanted to, if you would like a little softer look. If you're doing the Mobius flower, then I would go for a minimum of 3. So I've got my left strand for my small beads, my right strand for my large beads. Sorry I'm late to the table. Can I see what you're making, says Betty. Here you go, Betty. We're making a beautiful miracle bead collar today. So we're about 3/4 of the way through it, and then I'm going to show you how to nicely tighten up the ends. Now we've got lovely kits available in 3 different colours. If you pop onto the website, you'll be able to have a look. So onto my left strand are going my smaller beads, which are my 6mm. Onto my other strand, my right strand, is going my 8mm miracle beads. I'll thread a bead onto one, bring them both together, thread on 3 of my jump rings onto both strands, making sure you get them on both. I've missed another one there. So my last bead I added was small, which means I'm going to take my left strand and add on my large. Bring those together. Another 3 jump rings. And a small onto the left. And then again, bringing it together, threading on my 3. And onto my larger. I think we'll make a smaller necklace today because it's such a pattern repeat. Mind you, we're nearly there, aren't we? Let's have a little look. That'll do nicely, and then we can add some chain on. Yeah, this colour's beautiful, Jane, isn't it? So this is our blue section, blue colour option. I'm just going to make a lovely little section for the centre because this is how you will get the most out of your kits. Now, you have some fabulous chain in the sets as well. So we'll finish this off, make it all nice and tight, give it that lovely curve, and then we'll be good to attach on our chains. So I've already got my culotte attached on at one side. I'm just going to tighten all of these up. Now my inner cord, if I get my hand out of the way, you can see if I pull that tightly, I get a lovely curve. And this is the bonus of using the 2 sizes of beads because it's naturally going to tighten up on the inside. I'm just going to pull both of them really nice and tightly so that I get a perfect finish up this side. There's no visible thread if I move that up a little bit. Just knock all of those into place, make sure I've got a lovely finish. Now, I've finished on a smaller bead up on this side, so I'm going to do the same on this side as well. So just 3 more jump rings onto both of my strands. 1, 2, 3, and then we'll finish on a small bead on the inner cord, like so. Oh, this naughty one hasn't gone through here. There we go. Bit of fingers and thumbs today. Okay, there we go. Got sore hands. We were sorting out the garage yesterday with all the stock and building racking and all sorts. Very different to what I'm doing now, but my hands are suffering. Okay, so we'll take both of these up through the centre of our culotte, and like we were using yesterday, we'll use the culottes with the loop on top, so they're super strong, really lovely finish, not like the little ones that you have to do yourself, where you turn the loop yourself. These ones already have a closed loop attached. Now I'm going for a double crimp just to be super sure that it's nice and secure. I'm going to open up that culotte a little bit so that I can get right down into the middle of it. And then we're going to bring it down. Helen says, phew, I was getting a bit OCD there. Did you think I was going to finish it on the wrong one? So you can see that's going to give me a really lovely... Now, if this went all the way around, it's going to be gorgeous. You'd get 2 necklaces, full collars, all the way around your neck. To make sure that it's a little bit... better value for money, you can get a lot more out of it. You can see I've got all of these beads left over, so I could probably do another section just to go in the center. We'll extend it with chain, which would mean your set of 2 all of a sudden goes to 4, etc, etc. So I'm going to take my flat nose pliers, holding the crimp beads as near to the corner of my pliers as I can get so that I can push it down nice and tightly. I'm pulling on my threads so I'm pulling with my left hand as I crimp with my right. So I'm just giving those a nice little pull. And doesn't that look really lovely? That curve that you achieve using the two sides of the beads is really lovely. And then we'll cut this down, leaving a little tail inside, and we can hide that off with our culottes. So we'll squash that together, make sure we get a lovely, nice, neat finish, like so. And then we're ready to attach our chain on. I'm just going to give this a little rotation so that it's going to sit facing the same direction as the other one. Helen says, yes, I'm not OCD usually. I am. I'm a nightmare with it. Okay, so our chain. It's a lovely, big old chunky chain, which means that you're going to get a really lovely finish. And I'm just going to hide this bit behind my neck, measure this one up. So we can open these just like jump rings. So I'm going to take my pliers, open this up. Now, I'm pretty sure we're not going to get through there. No, so you will need your extra jump rings that are in the pack, which are ever so slightly smaller. And they're going to be our fixings, our attachments. And we'll open this one up. Where's my lovely clasp? Now you've got a super lobster claw clasp in here that will match the size of your chain. So it's going to be very easy to put on and to wear as well. So we're going to open up our smaller jump ring, link it onto our chain and link it through our necklace, like so. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. Now I was saying yesterday about an easy way to measure up your chain is just to hang them side by side, but the links on this one are quite large, so I can actually see just by eye how many I need. It's easier to count them rather than a very small curb chain. This curb chain is really lovely to work with and super simple. And then we'll open up this side. Again, attaching on our chain, attaching on the other side of your necklace. Now, I had probably threaded on maybe about 30 of my beads last night. Oh, hold on, I've lost one of my little tails. Dramas. So my my tiger tail has snapped or come off from my crimp bead. So what I've done is just removed, it's not the end of the world. I obviously didn't crimp it tight enough. Like I said, I've got sore hands today, so obviously haven't got the strength. But what I will do is just remove, so I've just taken off 4 little sets of beads, which has given me a long enough tail, bit of troubleshooting, that's given me a long enough tail to be able to then redo. So I've taken it back to the same point. I might just need to add a little bit more extension on my chain so that I can go a little bit longer. See, these things happen to all of us. I think so many of you, you know, when we're teaching, and Kitty and I have done classes, so many of you think it's because you've done something wrong. It's really not. Happens to all of us, no matter how long you've been beading for. I've just got slightly shorter tails to be working with now, but that's okay, we can manage. I've slightly staggered the end so that I can get them through the crimp bead, hopefully without too much bother. And then I'll just try and I'll try and get all my strength in to tighten this one up. Right, make sure we're not twisted, get these all the way round. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to pull my inner strand a little bit tighter. I always double back on the crimps to stop that happening. So do I, Diane, but Kitty doesn't. And in her instructions, it always tells you to do a 2. So I've started doing it her way, thinking that's what you'll get in your kits. But maybe I'll go back to my way. So what you can do, exactly like Diane says, is take your tiger tail wire, come back down, miss the crimp beads, not through the crimp beads. I squeeze the heck out of my crimp, says Camille. Yeah, I'm going to have to as well. Take your tail, miss out your crimp bead, and go back down through your culotte. Then you're going to come back down through a few of your beads, just a couple. I normally come down about an inch or so. So in this case, I would come straight back down, follow my thread path, straight back down. And that way, you do get that extra security. I think I'm going to have to go back to doing it like that, because that is my preferred way. Ooh. There we go. Because for me, it's just a bit scary. Sarah, you told me to do it like that years ago. Exactly. I think I'm going to have to go back to my original plan. It's because when you leave just such a short tail, just like you said, I'm worried that it's going to come through. So it just always gives you that little bit more security and strength, because that's pretty small. So I'm going to turn this around and let's pop that in there. Because if you've got, I don't know, small children, or, you know, you're going to get that cord pulled, you want to make sure it's nice and tight. Okay, so back to, where were we? Jump rings. But as you can see, it's easily fixable. It's no biggie. Let's go through here, attach this on, and then we're just ready to attach our clasp on up at the top as well. So we'll do that again with our smaller jump rings. Now you will actually also get earring findings in the set as well. I put 2 crimps on the side by side, and mine are always fine. I think that's just like what I've done there, is put 2 on. But yeah, it's personal preference, isn't it? Whatever works for you. Whatever gives you the confidence in your piece, you'll be good. Now, I'm not going to bother attaching a jump ring on the other side, because Kitty has stronger muscles than me. Must be. I'm not going to bother putting a jump ring on the other side, because my clasp will be able to go straight through. It's all those boxes of beads that Kitty moves in the warehouse, isn't it? She's got stronger muscles. So as you can see, if you've got longer hair, there's no point wasting some of your beads to be behind where your hair is. So these little clusters down at the front are just going to give you the perfect little finish. Oh, Betty says the chunky chain is great. I'm a big fan. It makes it so much easier to attach things onto. And I think it gives a nicer look as well, because you've then got something that's pretty much the same size as your beads as well. So obviously when you're wearing it, if you do have shorter hair, or you're going to pop your hair up, then just extend these beads backwards, but you won't be able to get as many from your kits. It's personal preference. If you want to stretch it out all the way, then of course you can. And if not, you've got that lovely little set. So I would say 4, if not 5, of a smaller cluster. You could go for like here, just like we did with our pins yesterday. If you don't want to go a whole set, then you can go a little bit in the middle. I think it's really lovely. And of course the miracle beads give you a beautiful finish. From here, you can't even really see. It's just that lovely zigzag, isn't it? Because those double colours give you that lovely effect. Good shout. That way you could do a bracelet and earrings too. Exactly. So if you do want to do your bracelets, you can either do it in exactly the same way, or you could use one size of your leftover beads. So if I bring you down one sec, I've got all of these left over from my smaller beads in one colour. If I introduce the smaller beads in the darker colour as well, I could make a bracelet just out of what is left here. And because I'm using one size of bead, it's going to be a straight path. Whereas remember, the smaller ones are up on the top there. Pulling that tight is going to give you that lovely curve. Really, really simple, but very effective. We do have the great offer on the kits as well today. They are normally $17.99 down to $12.99. And like I said, if you're savvy, I reckon you get 4 or 5 bracelets, 4 or 5 necklaces out of those. Otherwise, 2 full collars. I'd love to make, I think if I get time this weekend, I'll make a full collar in the grey and the shadow, because that's very much my colours. I think that'll look really lovely. Hope you enjoyed, guys. That's my last day on this little run. Sarah P tomorrow. So Sarah Payne is back with you tomorrow at 10 o'clock, and I will be back with you on Thursday. Jean says, looks lovely, Sarah. Now to go and have a play. Oh, enjoy. Carol says, beautiful. Debbie says she love it. Jo says, beautiful. Amazing. And does that chain come in the kit? Yes, Sheila, you get absolutely everything. So you get all of your beads. In fact, let me just turn you down again, because I'll show you. With your sets, you're going to get all of your coloured findings. So you've got, this is in the gold, so you've got your ear wires, you've got 2 of your clasps, because we were saying it'll make you 2 bracelets, 2 necklaces, can't get bracelets off the brain now. You've got your chain, you've got your culottes, you've got your jump rings, so these are your attaching jump rings for your chains, and your larger ones to create either your Mobius flowers with or to add in between. And then you've got your tiger tail as well, complete kits, and you will get full step-by-step instructions in there as well. Oh, Diane says Kitty said she was doing Thursday. Do you know what? Let me just double check for you. I really should have my physical diary with me here. You're right. Thank you, Diane. What would I do without you today? Kitty is here on Thursday because I'm on telly. Anyway, yes, Kitty will be doing her creation station on Thursday, which is when you just get to have a live play. In her study, she has pretty much every bead and every finding and every threadable under the sun. So what you can actually do is join her live and make suggestions. She'll make things for you. She'll try things for you. It's really fantastic. It's a really lovely interactive, more so than just the comments as well. Really lovely interactive video. So that will be on Thursday. Friday is the warehouse tour, which I know you love. So Kitty will be there with a trolley up and down the aisles. So what did you do? You've had all of the strung pearls and glass. You've had the crystals. You've had shaped beads. You've had findings. I'm not sure what the next one will be. I'm trying to think of where the actual aisles are. You might be into seed beads. That'll be a really good one. My mind it blows my mind when I'm in the warehouse and up and down those aisles. And then I am back Saturday and Sunday. So that's it from me for this week. Thank you all so much for joining me. So glad you've enjoyed the last few days with me. I will see you on Saturday, but obviously join our videos every day at 10 o'clock. Take care, everyone. Sarah P with you tomorrow. So hopefully I'll get to join that one actually as well, because I won't be in the studios. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Take care, everyone. Stay safe.